cleaning, streaming, wifing, lifing. Um, I haven't
Doors,
done one.
chores, and blue-pilled boars.
Chores, doors, and blue-pilled boars. I'll tell
Haven't
you
done that in a
something.
while.
But what was I going to say about the blue pills? That even the blue pilled normies know something's not right in the
Oh, yeah.
world.
Oh my gosh, I love watching this new awakening. I was talking
Yeah,
about the preppers last week that starting to see a lot of signs in there, and it's like it's good. Also with all these people being fed up with like Nike, Bud Light, all these company. Target is the new one this week. Have you seen that?
oh, I've seen it. It's so,
It's such a troll.
they used to say that, like, okay, I firmly believe that we are in some sort of version of the movie They Live. No one can convince me otherwise. And they used to say that they are playing like 5D chess. And even I, before I was like completely red pilled and I was still kind of like voting and stuff, I was like, why are they so patient? They make their plans, but like, so yeah, I saw what's going on with Target and I see what's going on around me. This is, I mean, they're clearly after the kids. They could give a rat's about us. But like where they're going, I don't know. I'm kind of glad I'm past middle age. I probably won't be around for it, which is sad to say. But hopefully they won't get their way. God help us. Said for the 10th time today.
I know, right? Right. So, yeah, let's catch up real quick. Wait for people to get here before we start bitching and moaning about our topic of the week.
Yeah, it's a good topic. It was your idea, so I'm going to let you kind of lead the charge, even though I've got plenty to say on the matter. Um, Thanks anyone who watched or listened last week. I want to retract and sort of like make a little apology. Because listening back in my mom is the sweetest person in the world. I swear to God, if you ever have a chance to have my mom on your jury, you want her to be on your jury. Okay. She's the most like, every time I'm pissed off about someone, she can just kind of gear me back and bring me back to a level of compassion. She's good like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Prison Mike is her baby, her real baby boy. He's my baby brother. And I kind of said that, like, okay, either you go to prison once and you never go back. And if you go back again, you're done. There's just no hope for you. I am in no position to say that about anyone. As long as you're alive, there is always hope, including for my amazing family. My brother had given me permission to talk about the fact that I basically made him confess that there's a part of him, a little part that liked the prison life. You know what I mean? So, and it's been a long loop with my brother, very long, that no one out there knows the story of. It just came off bad. Like, I don't mean to write off a whole segment of the population. Like, if you go back to prison twice, you're all done. Like, okay,
Forget
whoa.
about it. Just
Yeah.
walk them up and throw away the key.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone listened last week, that's all I want to say. And I want to apologize to my brother and my mother if I came off like, I don't know what the word is. Just, yeah. So you want my mother on your jury. You don't want me on your jury.
I feel like it depends with me. I feel like you would want me because I don't believe the state. I'd be like, yeah, right.
Well,
It would be a hung jury with me on there.
the
So
truth is that you, me, and my mom are not going to be on any juries. If you're selected for a jury at this point in time, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you've been insulted. They think you're an idiot.
have
No
you
one,
ever done first of all, that's a good point. When's the last time you got called to do jury duty? Have you
I,
ever?
I'll never get called. The last time I got called, I think I like opened a Bible while I was waiting, just to like, because I didn't want to stay. I have no desire to serve on a jury. You
Yeah,
know.
I think I've only been called once in my life, and I think it could be that am I even still a registered voter? I don't know.
I'm not a registered voter,
Um,
and I don't care. We both were. I'm very proud of us. The last vote we casted was Ron Paul, and I
yes.
stand by it, like you, Mary.
Yep.
I met
Yeah.
him. He was a really nice guy.
Yes. I mean, it is embarrassing that we were so invested in the system, but while kind of researching our topic for today, I did go back down the Ron Paul rabbit hole, and I'm just listening to him, and I really feel like Donald. Remember the money bombs, and everybody would give money, and it was like he would raise like $16,000 in a weekend, and you could actually follow who donated, and it was so open. And I was listening to a few of his speeches, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not ashamed that I
Nice.
voted for this man.
Oh.
And I feel like they try to capitalize off of him
Mm-hmm.
and kind of his platform with the parody Donald Trump. So, mm,
Well, I think that Ron Paul won the primary, as we know. Every single It's funny that we live in Massachusetts, which is known for being so liberal, but in our circles, I feel like I really do know more Republican leaning people. Everyone I knew voted for Ron Paul in that primary. Everyone. You know what
mhm.
I mean? And then Mitt Romney won. It was like the original Bernie Sanders fake out. And that's when I just like was like took my ball. I realized this is fake. My vote doesn't matter. They're going to do what they want. And they've been doing it to this day. They were probably doing it before, and I was just done with it after that. I'm a little
Yeah.
sleepy. Sorry.
So anyway, okay, so I was insulted. I want everybody to know I was insulted, and I feel like I'm like the nicest person. No, I'm just kidding. But I was called privileged in a backhanded kind of insult. And so I called Faye. I was like, what the hell, kind of going off on the fact that somebody would call me that, especially to my face, even though it was on the internet. And we started talking about it, and at first we were like laughing and joking, being like, yeah, I guess we do kind of come across as that with like, I don't get my hair and nails done, obviously, but like, facials I'm okay with. I know that Faye likes her little luxuries in life also. So I think the first reaction was just like, how dare you? That like Greta. And then our second reaction was more like, wait, are we? And then we started kind of digging into like what is privilege? What is it? Who who's privileged? I want to know because from not to give a conclusion, but from where I'm coming from, I don't think my position is privileged. I think I'm blessed. I definitely think I'm blessed. Have a lot more than a lot of other people, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I have a lot less than a lot of other people, and even people that, don't work. So there was that whole aspect. But the bottom line to this like insult was I responded with, so my opinion is less valid because I'm privileged.
Right.
So just taking the insult, fine. I'll take that insult. What is privilege? But yet at the same time, so my opinion doesn't matter. I should just what? Oh my gosh, I've been watching Gordon Ramsay's all week, like
Yeah.
binging it. I almost just swore. I should just F off into the kitchen, right,
Well,
guys?
I mean, no offense to everyone out there, but you would just, I'm sorry, everyone sounds like a bunch of low class truck drivers, in my humble opinion. I'm sorry. Um, I used to truther is just getting really lowbrow, and not everyone. The classy ones know they're classy, but it used to, just quick aside, I used to like be preparing dinner, and was telling Mary I would worry that like my kids would walk into like the occasional F-bomb or something. The language that people are using and the phrasing is bizarre and so trashy. So, but I just want to say that. So swear away, you'll fit right in.
I know, right? See, that just probably came across as we're so privileged, but it's like, no, we just have like don't want our kids listening to people say, suck my
That's
dot
really all.
on a live stream while we're in the kitchen making dinner. Sorry, I don't think that's a crazy recommendation.
Yeah. Well, honestly, the older I get, the less I care what anyone thinks, which is nice because I heard that. Like, I heard that the older you get, the less you care. And it really is. Like, I'm pushing 50 and I don't care anymore. I really don't.
Mhm.
Um, but I like the topic, and I think that we're going to go a lot of places tonight with it. I'm just thankful that you brought it up to me because I was thinking about privilege, and I can honestly say that the things that I'm most thankful for in life don't cost a thing. So thank you, God, and so just like meditating on everything I have, um, it's my faith in God, my relationship with God. It's my relationship with Joe. I could literally live in a van with him, and he knows that. Um, and my children who I'm getting along with, and we're doing our thing, and I'm thankful for the experience we've had. Some have cost money, my pets. I do like creature comforts. Am I privileged? Does
Yeah.
my opinion not matter? I don't.
No, this is the whole thing. So, I was thinking about it and I was like, "Okay, my parents." Okay, first of all, we grew up in a certain area. Well, two separate areas, but considered I would say upper middle class
Mhm.
areas of Massachusetts. My parents in their lifetime have basically bought and paid for 3 homes. 3. I'm in a position I can't live in the town I grew up in because I can't afford it, and I don't think I'm ever gonna own my home. I would let you know? It's just like, so what used to be like the American dream for the working class is literally just a fantasy at this point. I mean, what am I gonna do? Like, my mother's always worked hard. She's 80, she's still working, but, yeah, me and my husband will never be able to retire.
Yes.
Is that a privilege? I
So,
mean, it's
yeah, go
we
ahead.
don't have insurance right now. My son had to go to the doctors. We had to pay out of pocket $300 to see a doctor. It's like, yeah, do I have it? Could I pay it? That's the question. Yeah. Guess what? I could pay that $300. But at the same time, it's like I don't consider that a privilege being able to pay my bills with absolutely nobody's help.
Right.
And I think because of that, my opinion actually does matter because I'm on kind of the front lines of the dying middle class. And anybody who's a conspiracy theorist, a truther, you know that we are the last vestiges of what were or what was for our parents, right? And we're hanging on by our teeth. My neighbor, just real quick, she grew up in this town. She's about 60. She grew up in this town. She was able to buy a house in this town. Now her daughter's getting married and they're moving in with mom and dad, or else they're going to have to move really close to Rhode Island
Hmm.
um to rent. To
Right.
rent. All right? I
It's
mean,
gross. I give applause to the kids that still are trying to get married and have a family. It's so disgusting. I see that I was listening to a streamer, a classy streamer. Someone I found through Boston Ray, and he was talking about he was reading from Hi Lynxie, my kitty. He was reading from silent weapons for quiet wars. The economy is a weapon. And they were talking about
Mhm,
instead of shooting bullets, you insert situations.
mhm,
So if we can just go back in time when I was having kids, so I was never into this. I was going to either be a lawyer or I was going to be a mother. I wasn't going to be both. I wasn't going to have children to put them in a center all day and have someone else raise them. I'm not doing that. I remember being a little girl, and I specifically remember this feeling like, oh, I was very patriotic as my dad raised me to be. And I was like, that our country's great. Like, this is a great
mhm,
country. Like, you don't have to be rich. You can work at Sears and have a family and a house. And I specifically remember being a little girl in the 70s and 80s and thinking that. because it was what I
Yes.
saw. Then gradually, our mothers who were home with us for the most part, they started like doing part-time hustles. My mother started watching kids at the house. Our
Mhm.
aunt started watching kids at the house.
My
We're
mother.
working part-time. So I'm Gen X. So I get married and at first I was like going to be a lawyer, and then like when I turned 30, I was like, I don't want this. If I don't have kids now, I'm never going to do it. So I decided to have them, and it wasn't in the cards. Joe and I were Gen X,
Yep.
and we were going to make it work that I could be home with the babies. I worked part-time when Dorian was a baby, and then when Lena was born, I just stopped for a while. But then it like was changing. So go back to this. This isn't our first economic psyop. So I told Mary I declared bankruptcy when my children were little, and I didn't change. And again, I don't care what you think. I don't care about breaking contracts. I don't care. So I'll tell you the story though. Anyway, so my kids were babies and nothing had changed. We were working the same amount of hours. We weren't increasing our spending. Nothing had changed except the clowns, the puppets in charge had changed some things, which made our insurance that in Massachusetts, you're forced to have health insurance. We went from paying about $400 a month as a family to about $800. I think now we're averaging about $1,000 in health insurance that we don't use that we're forced to pay. So my health insurance more than doubled. And I had some credit card debt, not as much as everyone else, but all of a sudden, like my minimum pay, like the minimum pay, everything doubled. Like within like a couple months, like everything I was expecting, I was making enough. We were making enough that I could pay the bills and save a little bit and feed the family. But all of a sudden, everything more than doubled. And so then, like,
Mhm.
I heard some people, "Oh, you should get this job. You should get this job." It's like, I'm not trying to work full time when I have two little kids. That's not what I signed up for. They changed everything. I haven't changed everything. So
Mhm.
I contacted a bankruptcy lawyer and he got rid of it. And that's my advice to anyone who's struggling with debt. It's their rules. And by the way, any contract made under fraud is it's not it's
Null and void.
null and void. And every contract in the United States of America is made under fraud. Okay. So anyway, so they change things. Okay, so back to so this isn't our first psyop. So I'm old enough to know now. I've seen it in action, the way they play games with people and with families, and they're not going to be happy. Right now, most families, we're Gen X.
Mhm.
I'm still working part-time. You're an at-home mom. Um, my son, my brother-in-law, I'm sorry, I didn't get a good nap today, and I got up very early. My brother-in-law is millennial. That's the generation that has taken the download. He and his wife both work full time, babies in daycare when they're 3 months old. They split everything down the middle, housework. That's not appealing to me. Okay. When I decided to be a mother, I was going to be a mother. I'm veering off. I'm going off. Get me back
Yeah.
on track, Mary. Just like to the psyops, they change things. We don't. And they're
Right.
trying to change it now. And I'm going to later on, I'm not going to show my address. I'm going to open 3 bills. Okay. This is my electric, my water, and my heat. And I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, so first of all, these are all closed. I opened these at the end of the month because of the current psyop going on, because I'm afraid. My friend Jose, who lives in a tiny apartment by himself, told me he does the same thing. He's afraid to open these
Oh,
because
everybody is.
yes. So I'm going to open these online. I'm going to read them. These are paid in full. I pay them every month, and we'll see if I have to dip into my small savings account
Mhm.
this month to pay. But this is the new psyop, and the other psyop that we
Hold on,
looked
hold on,
at
hold on. You need to
gas prices. Okay, it's a lot.
slow the front door, if you know
All
what
right.
I mean. So with working, all right, having a
Yeah.
side hustle, which you know what, isn't that kind of a little too cutesy of a way to say that, yeah, my husband it can no longer, or a man, not our personal, a father can no longer support his family on one income.
Right. And
And
now
so we come up
the
with
new
this
psyop
cute
is
little word. And
You're trying to make 2 incomes not good enough. Go ahead, Mary. I'm sorry.
no, yeah, and also the whole tax system, just real quick. The reason why I've told you this 100 times, people probably, I'm sure I do come across as quite privileged. And actually, you know what? I'm very blessed. You guys know I literally, if I got a job, you know what that's going to do to my tax bracket? I would literally be only working to pay taxes and take home what, a couple hundred a week? I know to a lot of people that sounds amazing, but not for, it wouldn't even make up for the taxes I'm going to have to, or my family's going to have to pay back at the end of the year, even after being taxed all year long. The entire system is so corrupt. People are being robbed of their own hard earned money.
Yeah.
And people, it's like, it, now that my kids are older, my youngest is like 5.5. I would love to have some little thing, somewhere to go, get out of the house, make myself feel, something that's not doing laundry, doing dishes, mopping floors, And
Mhm.
that's why I started signing up for like courses. It's like, all right, I guess I'll like just to feel somewhat productive because if I get a job, I'm screwing my family.
Right.
And food prices, that's the other thing. So,
Mhm.
another thing is Faye and I were talking about this before. Literally, we can always pay it by the end of the month, thank God, or within a couple months. But haven't we all been there where we have to charge our groceries?
I had to well, Joe, I forgot to cash from Joe this morning, but I had to charge groceries.
Cash? You're still dealing in cash?
I love cash, and
You're
cash
so
gets you up quicker. I'm
weird.
listening.
I'm kidding.
I'm kinda cold for Memorial Day weekend. I'm gonna go grab a sweater, but I can hear you, Mary.
I texted my husband. He didn't get back to me. So, this is the thing. So, working class families, and I mean, back in the day, I guess, people still hear, "Oh, your husband's an attorney." Wow, attorneys are a dime a dozen. I don't think people realize that,
Yeah.
but it's almost like as soon as they hear my husband's an attorney, they already like have a preconceived notion of what my life must be like. And
Uh-huh.
like it's not like that at all. And in fact, the more money he makes, because we're not the elite, we're
Mhm.
just the working class. We aren't the top 1%. We don't have
Right.
offshore accounts. We don't have accountants besides like H&R Block, you know,
Mhm.
that know how to cheat the frigging system. We get so incredibly screwed. Our food prices are going up, the gas prices, everything's going up and up and up. And yeah, people are struggling. So calling me
It's
privileged really pissed me off.
it comes down to population control. People, you know what I mean? People don't think that they can afford to have children, and it's really when you look at the food prices and the fact that when I open these bills, guys, I guarantee you, my little part-time jobs, there's a chance that my income won't even cover this. Okay, so we'll say
Yeah.
that for the end. But anyway, um, it's population control when it comes down to it. um, it's so disgusting too because the infamous skinwalkers, the they of they live, the just disgusting vampiric elites, whatever they are. Oh, they're so gross. And I would
Yeah,
song
why are
my
we giving them so much credit calling them elites? We need a
I
better
wrote
name.
I didn't I
They're
called them
the elite of nothing.
elites.
Yeah, no, no, I
Okay.
know. I caught that. That's why I'm
Yeah,
like, wait, why did I call them elites? They're not
yeah,
elite.
they're
They're
disgusting.
elitist.
They're evil incarnate, and they're so greedy, and I do kind of feel like their number is up, thank God, whether I see it in my lifetime or not. Justice is the Lord's. And they've hurt a lot of people, and anyway, so the economy is just wicked. They use the economy as a weapon, and they don't look at money the same way as us little people do. They look at it as like our energy, our luge. I don't want to jump
Mhm.
ahead with everything. I know you had we talked about like where you want to go.
I just that's on the board. That's on the board. But I do want to point out this. A public defender is an attorney, and their starting salary is $38K in Massachusetts. Okay. Are you telling me that you can survive off of 38K? I know that my friend worked at a group home full time, a very respectful person. Her salary was 28 for a full time position. This is below poverty level.
Yeah.
What are people supposed
And
to
that,
do? They live
yeah.
in one of the, especially for us, we live in one of the wealthiest cities in the country. What the hell are people supposed to do? We're such I also feel like we're like the petri dish of the country in a weird way. Let's see what we can get away with. How much can we really like screw these people? So yeah, Faye, what are we on? I do have a board because Faye and I have talked about this literally all week. So you go ahead, Faye. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, I didn't interrupt. One of the things that just what really got to me just reading I never really thought of our economy really is just a weapon, and what he was reading from Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars was that they use the economy to insert situations rather than shooting bullets. And one thing that really like sent chills through me was they want occupationally orphaned children. And that's what I see. And you know what? I fought against that. And you know what? I don't care about my reputation. I don't care about anything. I will pay an attorney to file bankruptcy. I'm not going to get a full-time job and leave my babies, but that's my generation. I was raised by my mother. You know what I mean? Because it's not what I signed up for. They always change the rules. So anyway, occupationally, but that's the new normal. Wasn't when I'm saying that is these parents like have to put their kids into daycare all day. I don't know, like I wouldn't have kids if I had to put my kid in daycare all day.
Hold on, I also have to point this out. This isn't my cup. Literally, my nephew left this cup at my house. I'm not going to like Starbucks. It's a Starbucks cup. I don't support Starbucks, but it's a nice big mug, and my nephew forgot it here. So I just wanted to point that out before I come across as any more of a hypocrite. Go ahead.
I'm out of here with your Starbucks mug. I wouldn't even notice. Anyway, it's just really wicked and it's really sick, and it says right on your dollar bill, "In God we trust." And they're not talking about the God you pray to every day. They're not talking about that God. They're talking about their God. What is it Owen used to call them? Babylonian magic squares. You know, it's a spell. It's all gross. The world's run by witches and warlocks.
I want you to go back to that part where you were talking about it being the weaponization of the economy and how they use it better than bullets. Is that what you said?
Instead of bullets. Like even so I noticed this when I drive around with Jose, who I do the dog bus with, and I never really noticed because Mary, you know firsthand, my car is a piece of crap, and I don't. It's very good on gas, so I put like $10 to $20 in a week, and I'm fine. I don't go anywhere. But I guess to other people, gas prices is like kind of like a poor man's stock market. Like when he's like, oh, 333 today, it was 310 yesterday. And like I noticed that like normies really pay attention to the gas prices.
Because gas, that's not a normie thing. That's just a practical thing. Gas prices are going to affect everything. Yeah. So let's say we're both driving cars that take unleaded, but you know that if unleaded is going up, diesel prices are going up. How do you think inventory and stock gets to stores? It gets there on trucks, you know? Right. So it's like when the price of gas goes up, oh my God, this is crazy. Everything's pissing me off because now I'm like, I'm getting bottlenecked again because it's like, yeah, now are they going to raise the debt ceiling again?
Oh, yeah.
Well, oh my gosh, give me a break.
That's always terrifying people. They're always going to take people's social security away. They're always going to, is the debt ceiling. Like, it's just, and the truth is, I'll tell you, this is a true story. This, I feel like, I almost didn't tell this. I'm going to tell another thing. Sure. Before I decided to contact an attorney and see if I could declare bankruptcy, which I'm so glad I did. Thank you, following their rules.
Freaking, how the hell could you afford an attorney? Attorneys are insane.
The attorney was going to be a lot less than the interest on these stupid cards. But anyway,
Hold on.
that I was given when I was like,
I want to know, was the attorney's fees included in the bankruptcy? No, there's no way.
It was like under $1,000 to declare bankruptcy, and it got rid of all of the debt and all of the interest and everything except for my school loans. And I'm so happy I did it. I was in my 20s. Like, don't give me these loans. Like, you know what I mean? No one ever taught me about credit. I don't care. But anyway, but before I was sort of awake and red-pilled, whatever you want to call it, and I was still voting and in the system, when my babies were little, I remember worrying about money, and I was so worried about it and how I'm going to pay this. And I remember like losing sleep over it. And being up one night, this is a true story, okay? One night, I forget how old I was. My kids were very little babies. I don't even know if Lena was born. And I was worried about money. And honestly, the Holy Spirit came over me. It was a realization, okay? My daughter's 15 years old now. I don't even know she was born. This is that long ago. And I just like heard this voice say, it's fake. It's not real. They're printing more every day. They're pulling it out of nowhere. This is like a voice. The realization came to me that I was like this young mom with young babies, that I had to be fresh the next day. I didn't have time to lose this sleep over this fake ass numbers on a screen bullcrap they were playing. And I swear to God, a wave of peace came over me, and I've never, ever stressed. I mean, you know, I get like, okay, I get mad about the games they're playing. It's fine, but I don't stress about it anymore. So thank you, God, or whatever voice that was that came almost 2 decades ago.
I stress about it. Literally, it cost me a fortune to fill my oil tank. My house is really old. Built, what year was this house built? 1958? 59. We're on oil in the winter. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? It sounds crazy because I know that, like, we talk about things. It's like, oh yeah, I just got my face did. It's like, that doesn't even cost nearly a fraction of what it costs to fill my oil tank. And it's like, in the winter, am I gonna now it sounds like I'm complaining and I'm being a poor me, but on all my honesty,
no, you're not.
This is
we're all there, Mary. You're fine.
Experience we've had. See, I want you here for backup, because I think coming from me, I just sound like a whining bitch. I'm just hearing myself, and I'm just like, stop whining. You
Mary,
know, my husband's here, by the way.
You're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir, okay? I
understand. Yeah, what do? And also, with oil heat, keep in mind, hot water is also attached to that.
I like my hot showers. So does my daughter.
When your oil tank, remember I was telling you a while ago, and you're like, what the hell century do you live in? When we run out of water, oil, I got to boil water for the tub so my kids can bathe, because sometimes it does come down to not being able to fill the oil tank. It's like, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have gotten that facial, but what's done is done.
Yeah. That was a longer time ago.
What do you mean?
We've never had that situation where it's your facial, the oil tank.
Yeah, Mike said we've never had that experience where it's either your facial or the oil tank.
I think you'd come to your senses at that point. I think.
Well,
I said I think.
Well, let's not forget, guys. Let's talk about the artificial upswings that we can have. So we all know, I hope at this point, we all know that Trump, they weren't going to let Hillary be in office when they pulled off the lockdowns, because then the right wingers might have like actually put some thought into what was happening and said, hell no, we're not closing. We're not doing what you say, Hillary. But because it was Trump and everyone, I've told Mary that before the lockdowns, and this is a first for me, for the first time in my life, I was saving $800 to $1,000 a month.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That's fabulous.
But that was the artificial upswing. I wasn't alone. Okay. So now with all the girls I work with, they won't talk to me. They hear me coming and they shut up because I kill their buzz real fast. They're all going to a Trump rally. Okay. They don't, because they know what I'm going to tell them, that it's immoral to vote for a man that literally brought in the biggest evil satanic psyop in history. Why are you guys supporting him? Why? Because your wallet was doing well. That's the only reason. And that's the big problem with this country. This is why we get what we deserve, because the love of
They're
money
idiots.
is the
They're
root
just
of all.
idiots.
No, the love of money is the root of all evil. I saw it firsthand. Unfortunately, most
But
people
who do you think was
dollar.
hurt the most during 2020 when Trump was in office? Who do you think was hurt the most? I would say though it was the working class that literally couldn't go to work.
I would say children. I would say children were hurt the
All right, are they
worst.
middle class?
After that, the elderly. I would say children. Then I would say the elderly. Basically, the two most vulnerable groups in our society were tortured, humiliated. It's bad. It's really bad what happened. And you guys are going to vote for this guy again because you had a little more money in your wallet. Have fun. It's a sin to vote for him. It's a sin to vote, in my opinion, but that's just me.
I have my husband here. I made him say, he brought me a beer, which was very
Nice.
nice. Thank
That's
you.
a cute little cup. What a nice husband. I have a nice husband.
He's like, you
too.
need to chill out up here,
Yeah.
bitching and moaning.
All right.
You're so privileged.
Yeah.
You know what? We
Anyway,
used to have this
what do you think,
Jewish
Mike?
lady.
About what?
Can I just say a quick quote?
Sure.
There's this
He's
Jewish
definitely-
lady. We go to my mother-in-law's every day, every Christmas day, and she puts on a great spread. She's amazing. And this woman has passed. She missed the fun of 2020. God bless her. She was old, thank God. But she's a Jewish lady, so she would come and spend Christmas with us. Because what else do Jewish people have to do? She would always say the same quote to me. She'd say, "Faye, it's all about the crib you land in." So she's basically saying it's all wherever you land, whoever your parents are, wherever you end up, that's all that matters.
Oh, I was thinking of it in the MTV kind of way. I was like,
That would, but
hilarious.
the crib you land in when you're born,
yeah.
and Estelle would say ends up
Right,
with the
yeah,
crib you end up with.
All right, so you were the one that yesterday you had a lot to say, Mike, but now you're sitting here silent.
About it's not my program.
I know, but literally I'm calling in backup.
I'm calling you back in regards to what's that? Which
I don't know. Do you want to talk about the usury indentures? Or look at the list. Pick
Well,
one.
I mean,
Pick one, right? Faye, this is why a list is good. Am I right?
well, there was an interesting thing about one of the comments that I had seen was that was.
Can you hear him?
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Is it omnidirectional or
Go ahead, just
unidirectional?
go.
All right. But in regards to privilege, is that it's all about definitions, of course, because and I don't know if you got into it earlier, is the way I think privilege is now is all based on avarice, is that it's what I don't have. So if you have something
Envy.
I don't,
I would say envy.
Well, it's the 7th commandment. It's covetousness. Excuse me, the ninth commandment. So it's all about covetousness now. It's you have something I don't have, therefore you are privileged, and I want it, and I'm going to take it now, because again, you get into a whole socialist and communist routine there, where they're now finding ways to take what you have because you're privileged. Because you're privileged, because you're white, because you're working class, because you're middle class, or what have you. And it's all about destroying the middle class, because
Literally.
the tax system, as Mary was saying before, is set up right now to destroy the middle class. Because the upper class, who can make all the
I already
money,
said all this, yeah.
they don't care about the taxes. Taxes don't impact them. They'll just pay them. The ones who pay it and it actually hurts are the middle class. The poor, they don't pay it. They don't pay anything. They'll pay sales tax, but also, there's credits for them. There's innumerable. There's the earned income credit, which comes into play. But none of that stuff applies to the middle class. The people who do the most of the earning and paying per capita.
Hold on, what was that quote we looked up?
Living and dying and
on,
paying.
dude.
Wait, did you write it down?
The working and paying and living and dying in this in this community, Mr. Potter.
You're like a spider.
Do you know that from It's a Wonderful Life? But
Used to be
literally,
one of my favorite movies until I realized that was a big psyop too.
so yeah. So hold on. What did you say about that? I was all right. Back to envy. So there's somebody I listen to on YouTube. She's a homesteader, right? And sometimes she says things I can't relate to, right? And it's like my dream to be a homesteader. I'm such a homesteader wannabe. So she was talking about that she's doing a 30-day thing where she's only eating what she produces on her farm. And she's like, I think you should all do the same thing. And it's like, literally, what farm are you talking about? And to me, even though that makes me a little jealous, a little envious, it's like, I don't feel like that she should have to give me some of her goats and cows and some land so that I can live, my best life. And I feel like that's almost what's being done with the, systems that are in place now.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's just all well, back to even the Target thing at the beginning. It's just everything is anti-life, anti-creation. Yeah, it's like literally devolving into, it's just evolving day by day. And
but that's because a lot of these things, the anti-life situations, because a lot of the people that they see that are being created, quote unquote, aren't appropriate cogs in the machine, because they look at everything as being a unit of production, all these people. And if you can't be an appropriate unit of production, or you're going to have a surplus in the units of production, then, well, abortion's great then, and killing your elderly and killing, that's a Down syndrome baby, let's abort it.
Useless eaters, they call them. Literally, that's not my words. That's what they call these people. And also, now that we're getting into the world of AI, artificial intelligence, and they're like, it's going to wipe out all these jobs. You have to take a step back and be like, yeah, but Klaus Schwab told me I'm going to own nothing and be happy. And it's like, wait, does that like where VR comes in, virtual reality, and where all these drugs come into play, pharma? Is that where it all comes in? Because
well, that's,
as of right now, yeah, we're about to, a lot of people, including you as an attorney, you're about to be a useless eater, Mike.
Sweet.
I'm sorry. And I am too, because I'm beyond my
that.
childbearing years.
And this is the whole thing. Like,
sorry.
What is it? What is it? Brave New World, you had Soma. It was that drug that everyone ate just to forget everything, because they were all useless, because they were all redundant. So they just had their drugs, and that's how they did it. And that's why, we're going to legalize marijuana. We're going to legalize all these other drugs.
I am starting to think that's kind of a psyop. I am kind of thinking
many dispensaries.
It's not homegrown goodness, guys.
Right. No.
I'm sorry. It's not the same thing. I know people that have been smoking since the 60s. And as soon as they came out with, I bet your friend Freedom Grower, or that guy you listen to, would know way more about this stuff than I do.
Of course he does. I love Freedom Grower, but I don't like some of his friends. But we'll leave it at that.
But yeah, so it's like once they came out with the medicinal marijuana, people that had been smoking since the 60s would be like, something's different about this joint. You know what I mean? And now we have this assembly line type of like dispensary system. Yeah. Something's up with it, Faye.
It's all really convenient, isn't it? They're popping up all over the place. Soma is my favorite song by the Smashing Pumpkins, by the way. If anyone likes them, listen to Soma by Smashing Pumpkins.
What's the song I like by them, Mike? Oh, oh crap. All right, it's gonna drive me crazy. Soma. And I can't sing. No, it's not.
Soma is a really good song by them. But so much to say. Because again, they're doing more than 5D chess. It's population control. It's sick. It's wicked. They got mom. They kicked mom out of the house. Mom and dad are working. They've got occupational orphans, and it's still not enough for them. Should I open my bills now?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Smashing Pumpkins, their only, in my opinion, their only good song is Disarm. Sorry.
Leave you
Hold on.
laughing,
See, this
left
is the
me
thing.
to-
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that
love
one, yeah.
that song. Oh, it's
No,
so good.
so you
It's
gotta
so,
listen to Soma, I
it's so much
promise you.
nostalgia.
Take some
But hold on.
dispensary weed and put on
No.
Soma.
I don't want people to get like defensive about this. All right. I mean, if you have a dispensary that has like their own like garden, their own garden, I guess in that case, I'm like, yo, if you know it's locally sourced, the same way we should be treating produce, right? We should, you're smoking it. You need it to be like, I would only go locally sourced personally.
Yeah.
But I mean,
You know what? I'm like, I've told you this before. Like, even when it comes to eating, so I'm putting on. If you're in the chat, I'm putting on some of that nice CBD lotion you gave me, Ray from Boston.
oh,
So
that was
sweet.
nice of Ray. Ray's
He's
over
the
here.
nicest. He always brings me stuff over in the summertime. The living's easy, guys. So
That's right.
We'll see you at my pool before we in June. Right now the yard's a mess. Joe's been working a lot, but no, even when the food tastes so different. The fruits, the bananas, everything.
It doesn't have a taste. What do you mean
Yeah.
it tastes different? It tastes like nothing.
I know. It's all, I just say my prayers before I eat. I pray when I buy it in the car on the way home. I pray before I eat it. What am I going to do? You know, I can't. I can't with all of it. It's so diabolical, all of it. So, God help us.
Right.
You know, if I got a nickel for every time I said God help us every day, that could pay all our bills. Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on, and I do think also another thing that we have to not pay attention to, but realize there's a difference between distraction, entertainment, and psyops. Okay. I'm working on this whole like formula only in my own head, like starting to think that the elections are entertainment, guys. I think
yeah.
it's like, yeah, but I don't think it's like I don't know, Faye. I'm getting like overwhelmed.
I know, that's why I'm like rubbing CBD into my skin right now, because I'm like literally, it's a lot. Because you know what it is? It's inhuman. I think that's what we're all sort of coming to the realization that are the Elites, the controllers, the psychopaths at the top of the pyramid. They're really not human. I mean, I don't know what they are, guys. I'm just going to put this on my temples because the throbbing is starting. And it's not you, Mary. It's because you can't get your head around the evil. You can't get your head around the diabolical, evil genius of it all. It's all connected. It's all spiritual. The hatred they have for humanity. But then again, it gives you hope. What has to give you hope is like, if we weren't valuable, then they wouldn't put all this effort in to making us miserable.
Yeah.
And I'm not miserable. Like I said at the beginning, I'm very, 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 thank you, God, very thankful. I have things that money cannot buy. The best things.
I feel like I'm stagnant. I feel like I'm stagnated or stagnant. I feel like it's by design. Again, we never fell for the whole dual income thing. We started in an absolute shite hole. We first of all, we lived with my mother, saved enough money to buy a shite hole, moved up to this house, which also was absolute disrepair. It looked like an abandoned house when we bought it, and it's like I'm kind of gobsmacked. This is why when you and I are hanging out, we're like, how the hell are people doing it? You know, but anyway, back to my original point. My original point is I feel like I'm not allowed to, unless I want to work for free, essentially. I'm not allowed to, or else I'm just remember last week I was talking about smokes, and I was like, I'm voluntarily paying $150 a month extra in taxes. Well, guess what? if I got a job, how much voluntarily would I be paying in taxes that I don't need to be paying only to make myself feel useful and productive? So I do see how people can fall into that trap
It
too.
would be nice if you could find like something under the table, and I, you know, I don't know. So I feel like I beat the system a little bit. Can I tell my little story, Mary?
Yeah, please
Because
do.
months ago, and I remember talking to you, and I was like, because the bills were getting higher, and the writing was on the wall. My husband has a good job, and again, before confib. Hold on. What? Is you guys hear my
I do.
Kitty?
Same.
What? He's got some opinions on this. Anyway, I'm sorry. He's like way over there too. Like, what the hell? Before COVID, I was saving all this money, and like literally, it was like Joe. It was like this magical little artificial upsurge under the Trump admin right before they usher in the biggest psyop in history. That like my husband's job was supporting the family, and my part-time job is teaching exercise was like literally like go on vacation and save. Yeah, that's all over. And I remember talking about this, and I was like, I need to go to work, Mary, and I can't teach exercise, and I'm gonna have to go to work. And everyone would say to me, "Oh, Faye, you should look online. There's tons of work from home opportunities.
MLMs, multi-level marketing,
Yeah.
Lululemon,
It's like, but like to me,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that I had the foresight to see this. This is my home. This is my refuge from the world. You think I want to set up a computer, a laptop at my kitchen or dining room table and have to look at that every day and that's my work? I'm good. So, but I did end up working, and I told Mary that all during the stupid fake whatever it was. I got to settle on a name for whatever that was. It makes me mad. But I would say, as I was driving around and seeing all these crazy people voluntarily suffocating themselves and the streets are dead, and my kids can vouch for me. Every single time I saw a dog, I would say, "Thank God for dogs. Thank God for dogs," because literally they were making life worth living for me at that dark time. And now I'm boarding a dog this weekend. A rich family's paying me to give their dog a loving, spoiled environment. So I found a way to work from home, which isn't making my home hell.
I do
You know what I mean?
think
So
there is also, it is important to point out that how many companies do take advantage of mothers who they want to work from home, they want to be with their babies, and they exploit them with multi-level marketing schemes like Avon was one, Mary Kay is another, Lula Rose is another, Monet hair products. That's another hobby of mine, is I love watching they're called ex-Huns.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, the ex-Hun bots out there exposing all these companies and actually how much money of their husband's money, which they didn't have. And a lot of them rack up huge credit card debt because they keep saying, "Oh, hun, you got to spend money to make money," and all this kind of stuff. And they're taking such advantage of these. A lot of them are young mothers. It is really sick. But you said something else there. Oh, I forget. Sorry.
Don't be Joe, can you come up if you're listening, honey?
Yeah, what the hell was the thing that you said? I hate natural lighting.
I didn't want to turn I don't have, the only way I could do office work at home is if I actually had an office. And if I do have a small office, but my office is kind of like you have to like pass through it. You know where it is, Mary, like where the downstairs powder room is when you go to the deck, like where the bookshelves are. It's not really an office, but like it would pass this one. But it's still like kind of central to the house, you know? The only way I could ever like work from home is if I had an office and I could close the door. I can't, I just, my home is my refuge from this insane.
I remember the other thing I was going to say. It was about when you were saying, scrimping and saving for your vacation a year. Now, that's another comment I did hear was, us up here kind of bitching and moaning. And then, the next stream, you're in Mexico. I do want to put this out there. for Faye and her husband to go to Mexico, it probably costs the same amount for me, my husband, and our 8 children to go to New Hampshire. So I don't think you should be shamed for that.
I'm not ashamed. Again, I don't care. But the thing is, and I love to travel. And you know what? Like go ahead, Mary, finish your thought, and then I'll tell you about travel.
I don't know. I mean, who the hell doesn't love to travel? I feel like everybody loves to travel.
I just do. But like,
for example, I could travel alone, but then what if I got killed in a plane crash?
No
that
offense.
seems like my fate.
My dream is to go on somewhere by myself someday, but no, honey, just
you wouldn't make it 5 days.
Did you hear that? I would.
Yes,
sweetie, you know,
you wouldn't make it to the airport.
Love. That's not what I meant. Like, you know what I mean? You know, just like I have we're going away next weekend because we're getting
going away.
I'm going away.
Yes, she is. She's going away.
It's my big trip because his work pays for a hotel like I did. I can still do the stream. I'll be down there Friday night. And while he's working, I'm just living it up. You remember last time I went? Like, you know, everything's on I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Oh, so, okay. My son is graduating from high school next year. They're at the perfect age. My dream is I want to take them somewhere. And I want to go the 4 of us. And, you know, I've been pricing out some places I want to go and it's very expensive, but I know that where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm working hard. And I know I got tickets, round trip, direct flight tickets to Ireland. And we went for $200 each. Okay, where there's a will, there's a way. Because you know what? I don't have social media. I don't want to go on vacation to brag about it, to rub it in people's faces on social media. There's 2 reasons. I want to spend time and have time with my family because that is the times I remember the most. And my kids do too, is just going away, like no work to distract us, discovering new places. And that's it. And just see the beauty of the world. You know, I don't need to like jet set and brag about it. So I know that I don't know where we'll end up going, but I know that we'll end up going somewhere. That's how I want to celebrate my son's 18th birthday and his graduation from high school. Is that bad? Am I privileged?
I mean, a second vacation. Now I'm getting pissed off, Faye. You just had a vacation. Oh my God, I'm only teasing you, but literally.
He's going to be 18. It will probably be the last one I ever take him on, you know, because
trust me, if you're paying, they'll be there.
Yeah, right.
So privilege implies that something was not earned. All right. So anyway, I want to say hello to the chat. RT is here. What's he saying down here? So he agrees with Fluffy. Why does my husband literally have the gayest username? He's not gay. But anyway, other people are quick to claim someone is privileged and not know the backstory of sacrifice. I mean, it sucks because like Faye was just saying, and our friends. Hello.
Hi.
It's so nice. And of course, Ray up here telling us all about it. So hold on. Ray said he's not doing streams anymore.
Ray's not.
Maybe I misread because I was listening to you and only half listening. I hope that's not true.
No, Ray's still doing streams. I saw him.
I thought he maybe was. Oh, maybe he means. I mean, he does have a different username pretty much every week. So, I mean, he's no longer cop cams. Now,
what's that? What's his picture? That looks like someone getting like frequency.
It's
assaulted.
The TV. Yeah, the TV and the frequency.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Jesus.
So hold on. What was I? Dang it. Hold on. Let's see this. Is she going away or are they coming to take her? Hold on. That may be out of context. That may be. But okay, hold on. I gotta. Who doesn't love to travel is what a privileged person would say. I haven't been on an airplane since I was 6 years old. I did go out to California because my husband's job paid him to live in the freaking, I mean, talk about an amazing experience. They rented us a house out in LA on Canyon on Wonderland. What is that? It can't be anyway, Wonderland Ave, I want to say. Fabulous experience. I drove there, all right, with my 7 kids in the back and pregnant, all right? So I couldn't fly my whole family out to California, but anyway.
God made a very beautiful realm, and I love to see it. The places I want to go. That's awesome, RT. That you've So RT, tell me. I want RT if you're listening.
This is envy. Now I'm getting envious. I'm getting jealous.
Even if I'm just dreaming, these are the 4 places I am dreaming of going with my family when my son graduates. We all want to go to the Lake Como area of Italy. Beautiful. I've always wanted to go to Lake Como, Italy, like northern Italy. That's number 1. Spain, southern France, and I mean, then basically anywhere else, but those are like my 3. I would love to go to those 3. But we'll see. But no, you can find a cheap flight and you get an Airbnb. You find a cheap flight and you get an Airbnb. That's what you do.
There is a world of difference. Again, you and Joe, you and
100%.
It's like when you're talking about this stuff, it's like I told you, we looked into a pilgrimage for my son for a graduation present, and it was 10 grand. 10 grand. What? For him and his father. No, for him and his dad.
What kind of cha-ching pilgrimage is that?
I know, right? 10 grand. So, oh, hold on. These are Mike's picks. Mike's top 4 of where he could go if he could travel, because this is pretty much where we're at. This is all a fantasy land, what you're talking about. Tatooine, Bespin, Hoth, and Endor. All right? Endor.
Well, the reason we want to go to Lake Como, Fluffy, you'll appreciate, is because that's where Padme and Anakin got married.
It was the crappiest couple in history.
Well, my daughter has a huge crush on the kid that plays Anakin.
All right, fair enough.
The other option I have, Mary, and you can actually give me your advice on this, is we've never been out west. And like flying to like Utah or Arizona, I've heard is really fun too. So I've never been out west. I've been to Seattle. All right, now this
Arizona
is getting really boring. Let's get back on track.
All right, go ahead.
No one cares. Sorry.
I'm not going. Guess what? I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to New Hampshire. But go ahead.
I'm not going anywhere either, guys. This is gonna tell. Should I open my bills and that will tell me like, are we saving that? Because this will remind
he's got to be messing with us. You should go to Florence, Italy. Beautiful Tuscany area with fine leather shops and epic. He's pointing out that we sound pretentious, right? we just sound privileged, right?
I'm sorry, I got a phone call. It's not. I'm going to decline this. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's too much. Oh, God.
I know. Like always, we can see it from both sides. It's like privilege.
The only way I'm going to any of those places is if magically, like the trip to Ireland, a cheap flight comes around, because there are that was a magical flight. I wasn't planning on going to Ireland, but all of a sudden I get a phone call. Faye, you want to go to Ireland? $200 direct flights. I'm like, I guess we're going to Ireland. I mean, again, family of 4. You can't say no to that,
right? So anyway, all right. So you were about to say something about Target earlier. You were like, oh yeah, and the whole Target thing, and then I stopped you because you were moving way too fast.
It's just all connected. It's all connected. We get the government we deserve. We get the economy we deserve. I'm not going to get into telling everyone we need to repent again, because nobody cares and nobody likes it. But we get what we deserve.
I'm sorry. I do think RT's hilarious. I think
he is.
So I love that you. Are you? To me,
Wait.
you are, but I
RT,
mean,
thank you. Switzerland is my number 4, and I can't believe I forgot.
so imagine again, it is all about like kind of life experience perspective. So me being called privileged, it was really upsetting. But to me, like, yo, yo, you
Yeah.
guys are like
Well, this is
you're
what I've
going to
always told my
Italy,
kids.
and that's not right. It's like I'm happy for you. Why can't we
Yeah.
just be happy for one another?
I'm happy for everybody. I don't get jealous very easily. And like I told you in the text I sent you this morning, I thought about it. No one's ever really called me financially privileged to my face anyway. I've been called, so I looked up the word privilege and it means having an advantage, an unfair advantage. I have been told to my face that I have an advantage because I'm a woman in certain situations, and I have an advantage because I'm white. Um that I've been challenged because I'm white, and I've had conversations with people about that. But I've never financially, I don't, I'm not very privileged. I mean, I've been working since I say 14, but really I had a paper when I was 12. That's one thing I can thank my parents for is I have a very good work ethic. I'm very
Same with me.
dependable.
I started with babysitting at 12. Worked basically until um my oldest son, me and my husband's oldest son was born. And yeah, that was it for me. I'm useless now. Like, even if I was to go back into the job market, what would I do? But shut up. This is wicked boring. Go ahead, Faye. Next.
No, well, I love the course that you're taking. Like, I love talking to my mom. My mom makes most of my skincare for me, and she makes me really great stuff. Mary, she's made you stuff before. Her stuff
Oh
is
yeah.
amazing. And like, she's always just like, I talked to her the day. She's like, "Oh, I just made cough syrup," and she told me it was in it. It's like, Mom, you're really going to be useful in the coming days. So you just keep learning that stuff, and you with your foraging class are going to be useful.
Your
And
mother, hold the phone. I have a business opportunity for your mother because I can tell you this class that I'm taking, these people aren't like certified in anything. And there's 10 students. And it is overtime, so there's like a tuition, but all when it's all said and done, it's like $1,000 a head
yeah,
for these two ladies to sit around in a circle and tell me about dandelions, which I already knew. What was the other ones? So it was dandelions, it was violets and stinging nettle. All things I already knew. I'm hoping they're going to get more like elbows deep into
right.
foraging. But your mother literally, could you imagine if she had a course, Faye?
Well, imagine if you and her, and the other thing that's going to be big, everything's changing. And as they deliberately destroy the public schools and private schools, Mary, they're going to need homeschooling consultants. People that
Jude.
don't know what they're doing, that are going to pull their kids out of school, will pay people like you that have successfully homeschooled 8 children and be like, tell me what to do. Where do I start?
I just accidentally called Boston Ray my son's name, but just forget that. Look over that whole thing. You know what? My husband brought me a beer because now I'm probably getting stupid. But anyway, Boston Ray was saying something like that, but it's way back now. He was like, you guys are going to.
I'm proud of myself, guys, because I was telling Mary, I was working for 2 doggy daycares, and I was always going to quit one because I didn't feel like I jived right with the people. Well, God took me in a different direction. I'm making so much more money with the one that I was going to quit, but I didn't. I quit the other one. Anyway, this woman's giving me all this free certification. She's like, take the certification. So now, like, not only do I have like a nice loving home with a fenced in backyard, very modest people, okay? So like, I'm not that privileged, but like now I can say, well, I'm certified in group doggy and doggy behavior. People eat that stuff up.
I do think we are digging ourselves into a hole with this whole like, I'm not privileged. It's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we're just oblivious. Maybe we just take crap for granted. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. I know that I too, Faye, I bitch and
I don't
moan when
think
I'm
I don't think any
living the lifestyle I'm living, and I'd
yeah.
bitch and moan just as much if I lived in a cardboard box. So it's like either or, I'm not gonna change. But at the
Yeah,
same
I'm not
time, it's
taking
like,
anything for granted.
oh,
I
I
thank
take
God.
everything. I
I
think I
thank
might.
I don't listen to my radio in my car, and I thank God so much. And Joe, I'm sorry if I just hurt your feelings for suggesting I might like to go away by myself someday. Because Joe, I thank God is sick of hearing me say how thankful I am for you, for the children, for our health, for everything that we have. You just need to be thankful, you know. Privileged.
So back to the original question, who is privileged? I mean, who's privileged? I mean, to be honest, when you and I were talking on the phone, you were like, I've never had a day where I went hungry. I did, but have my children? No. No, of course not. And that's such a blessing.
It is such a
But by saying it's a privilege, does that make it a right? Because that's another one of the definitions. It's like no, and that's where we do bring it back to it being a blessing. But at the same time, people who don't have that opportunity, it doesn't mean they're less blessed or God doesn't love them as much. So I feel like it's all kinds of a slippery slope, and people aren't analyzing what they're saying with when they say like things like, you're white, which yeah, you're privileged. It's like, are you really thinking about what you're saying? I don't think they are. I literally
yeah.
don't think people are thinking. I think they're using these as insults for the sake of being insulting, or at least backhanded insults, where there's a lot to be examined. I mean, we just took one insult and talked for an hour and 11 minutes about it because we analyze pretty much everything. you
Maybe the
know
person didn't really mean it as an insult. I remember one time when I was a real little girl and I was going
of
through.
course they didn't. Of course
I
they didn't.
didn't. I remember when I was really little. It must have been like second grade or something, and I was in elementary school, and there was this really pretty girl, and her name was Missy. And I was like in second grade, and she was like the most popular girl in elementary school, and she was probably like in fifth or sixth grade. She's like really pretty blonde, and then one day I saw her house, Missy's house, and maybe it was in third grade, and she lived in this beautiful house, and I remember I was like, oh yeah, Missy's rich, and like I remember her like coming up to me in the schoolyard and be like, why are you telling people I'm rich? Why would you say that? Like this big older girl, and I was just like, what? I meant it as a compliment. Like you just have a really nice house. Like I was just like a little girl. Like you're just really pretty, and I was just like really little, and she looked like she had it all together. And then I saw her house was a mansion. I was like, wow, lucky
Mhm.
her. But she was pissed. That was a long time
Mm,
ago.
mm.
I don't know. People take things different.
I think the problem with saying it is, again, what one person considers normal,
Mm,
another person may envy. To some people, being a freaking homesteader is normal.
yeah.
It's like, to me, that's like a fantasy. It's like dreaming of it. And it's like, yeah, then sell your house and buy a homestead. It's like, yeah, I have my parents here that are elderly. All my children's, I would be, I'm almost like stuck here in a weird way. So it's like, no, that's amazing. And you were born in that community and you can still homestead there. Like, to me, that's the be all end all. I don't care if I ever travel again, you know, that's
Yeah.
not my cup of tea at all. So to me, it's like, oh my God, those people, I would never say they're privileged, but the way that the term is being thrown around, it's like, I guess I should call them privileged instead of like, yo, you're blessed. That's an amazing life. I love that for you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's
I
pretty
would
much the bottom
never,
line.
I don't think I've ever really used the word privileged when describing anyone. I walk
Trust fund,
dogs.
trust fund kids are privileged.
Oh, and
You know why?
when we're
Because they're
when we're
entitled.
we're in trust fund central here. Okay. I mean, we just are. That's how they're really doing it. I've discovered.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I always consider privileged to be a synonym of entitled, but it's really not. But at the same time, it's almost like that's how it's being presented to us. It's like, oh, you're so privileged. It's like, really, I'm so entitled. I don't know. Maybe that's because I'm an idiot and I need a thesaurus.
No, privileged means an unfair advantage. I looked it up. I wanted to make sure that we knew what we were talking about. So yeah,
Yeah.
it is backhanded. It's saying that you have just an advantage, but you have it. Everyone is born with advantages in some way, shape, or form. Like my son asked my husband, is it harder to be a man or a woman? My husband didn't blink an eye. He said it's harder to be a woman. But then again, in a lot of situations, it's easier to be the woman. It depends on
exactly, which we
where
brought
you
up
are.
on our live before, and we had a debate over
So
it.
my son and my daughter, before I even knew we were talking about this the other day night at dinner, my kid, like, I'm sure your kids talk about it too. Like, my children certainly haven't chosen their career paths yet, and that's fine. My daughter's 15 and my son is 17. They don't need to know their career paths, especially because we're not rushing them out now, especially because confib slowed everyone down, But anyway, so we were just talking about how AI is changing things and like what things will be lucrative. I'm still like living in the past, I just look at my daughter and I'm just like, I'm just like, well, you don't have to worry as much as Dorian does. It's so bad. What are you looking at?
Synonyms for a privileged person.
Ooh, let's
All
hear
right.
it.
Honored. Powerful. Are you feeling powerful, Faye? Advantaged. Entitled. I'm right. All right. As long as I know I'm right and I haven't been using it the word wrong. Entitled. Indulged. All right. See, this is what I'm talking about. Ruling. So powerful ruling. Silk stocking. What year is this? And special. So yes, it is an insult. Whereas,
are you gonna forgive this person who says you're privileged?
oh yeah, I've been talking to him. He's fabulous. He did it. I did. Hold on. Let me just say, I did confront him immediately on it, and he was like, "Yo, you need to like slow down, sister." He's like, "I didn't mean it like that." So no, he's fine, but still, it's like how incredibly triggered I was by somebody saying that to me.
Because because whoever it was, he doesn't know. No one knows, like, until you really walk in someone else's shoes, you have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, he has no idea that you have had to boil water to bathe your children. You know what I mean? You grow your own food and you work hard. My friend Unique pulls this crap with me all the time. I got pulled over with her once, and she's black, and so of course I get away with it because I am still ticket free to this day, yo. And she's like,
Wow.
we're driving away, and she's like, you just got away with that because you're white. I go, were you with us? I go, that I got away with that because I played the damsel in distress. Weren't you there? It had nothing to do with color, Unique, not to mention you're right next to me and you're black. But she's always saying that. But like, good for her. It's her little card she plays, and I just call her out on it.
Right. Anywho, all right. Well, that was a lot.
I'm gonna open my bills.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see what the tally is. I wouldn't even dare.
Let's play this up, guys. So I'm gonna be careful not to show my address. My son and my husband told me. So we're gonna do electric, water, and gas. So, guys, this is not.
And you haven't opened your pool yet, right? Or have you?
We're not opening the pool. First of all, I'm wearing a sweater because it's too cold. We don't have a heated pool. Second of all, Joe's working so much. We don't have money for a pool boy,
Okay, go ahead.
So I don't even know if I want to open it, to be honest with you. If we open it, it's only going to be for like July and August, which is just like whatever. But the kids really want to. This has become a traumatic experience for me. Okay. So we're going to do it together. All right. First, we will do my energy bill. My energy bill is enclosed. opening it. I usually do this at the end of the month. Let's see what they charge me. And
It
by
is
the way,
end of the month.
wow. Okay, I know they probably got my last payment late. It says 9/24/19, but I think, yeah, they forwarded me my balance from last month for $602. So that's what I paid last month, but I have paid it, so it's late, but they got that. So really, actually, this is really an improvement. So what I actually owe on this bill is $321.28. That's low. Last month's was $602. And
All right, which bill was that?
So Joe can answer. It's National Grid, baby.
No. Was that water, electric?
It says energy. I think it's my electric, because this one is from National Grid. I don't know what they are.
No, National Grid. That would be.
Okay, so that one is $321. This one is. This actually is really. You know what? Maybe I'll open my bills with you guys every month. This is good. This one is $111.97, and this one must be. This is the gas bill. So gas is, but last bill was $421.74.
Hold on, do you have a gas stove in the kitchen?
Yes.
That means you're not cooking enough, sister. There's not enough home cooking.
Okay, so I'm being trolled by the universe to say that this is kind of God's way of saying, Faye, it's all going to be okay. It's all fake. So instead of focusing on this month's, last month's electric bill was $602, and last month's gas bill was $423. So that's over $1,000 right there. And that's been pretty. The reason I'm reading these is because it's been like that. So the 325 and the 111 is actually an improvement.
Yeah, that's great.
Now we'll do the one, but it's really not great when you think about it.
Manageable.
It's manageable. It's much more manageable than 1,000. But I also have my water bill. Let's go. $235. I'm billed every 3 months for water.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this is your lucky charm, Faye, doing it on camera.
I really feel like, guys, can I open my bills every month? That was a substantial.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe you should. Maybe we found a loophole.
Maybe I am privileged. That really didn't have the impact I was hoping for. But
yeah, those weren't bad. They weren't bad.
They're not that bad, but the last month's ones were, and they've been consistently like $5. Like the electric bill has consistently been $500 to $600. I'm not lying, you know.
Of course.
So now it's $325 all of a sudden.
All right, so that was fine.
Still a lot. It's still a lot, and I still have to work about 2 weeks to pay that.
Well, yeah, but it's manageable, you know, and maybe that is where kind of the privilege comes in. I don't know. I don't know where it all fits together. All I know is that we are a dying group of people. The middle class. I consider us the working middle class, you know, which is it's one step above the working poor. All right. Which is also, it's so weird also that we're like putting people in all these class systems. It sounds very like caste system type thing, but we don't consider each other the untouchables. But it's like, yeah, there's the working poor. So I don't know, Faye. I'm out of vitriol.
Yeah.
I think I just proved my friend's point. So I'm gonna yell at him.
All right. So I did do a training this week, an online class to get a certification and some dog training, and one realization that came to me really fast as I'm doing like this professional training is the controllers, the Lites, whatever the hell you want to call them, they really think of us as animals. The games they play are very similar to how I'm being told to control and categorize and desensitize animals. There was one particular one. I've never done this with dogs before. I've never worked at a facility that does it, but they call it the head halter. And you take a slip lead and put it around their muzzle. It doesn't hurt them, but it calms them down. And it was all this big thing about desensitizing them because it's new. It's a feeling on the face and blah blah. It's new. Yeah, and you know what that reminded me of?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just so, I was like, wow. And they really look at us like animals. But I'm sorry, but until we stop acting like animals, that's our lot. We get what we deserve. All I can do is improve myself. And I just pray for people to clean it up. I'm not going to get into repents, but clean it up. Because God sees everything. We're all mad about being watched and you know, everything's not supervised. You know.
Monitored
with the
Yeah.
little green light looking at. We're all being monitored.
It's a classic socialist theory. Class is what they want us to look at everything in terms of hold on. And again, it's just all very divisive, but I'm not unhappy with people who need to be on assistance. I'm not totally like I was like being a little like cheeky there with the whole like hey maybe you know with the travel and stuff, but the thing what it comes down to, it's like I could be like yo that's pretty amazing. It's like I don't want what you have the opportunity to have, you know, and that's what it comes down to. I really think our system also, and it's put into children's minds all the way going back to the school systems, is this envy and covetousness. Exactly what Mike was saying, you know, it's like always look around, always see what everybody else has, you know. It's like, why don't I just mind my own freaking business and just move it along. And one more thing in conclusion but when one night my husband and I were having a fight about his job, because he's like your husband, he freaking works way too much. And he's like, I have to work, right? And I yelled back at him, the state of Massachusetts could take care of me just as well. That's pretty what's the
disrespectful.
Well, yeah, I was being a bitch, but demasculating. That like the fact that literally the state can do what a working man trying to provide for his family is trying to do.
My brother, Prison Mike, and I don't think that he doesn't mind his nickname, by the way. He thinks it's hilarious. We all love that episode with Michael Scott. But Prison Mike used to always joke around because he knows the system so well, and his joke would be like, hey, why don't you just tell him that Joe left you and then you can get benefits? And
we were literally talking about this, me and my sisters, with my two what would they be, nieces in law, sitting out in front of my parents' house trying to get the babies to go to sleep because the babies were squawking. We're talking about this exact same thing. Why can't I legally just divorce him? Just say he's done.
I live down the street from public housing, and all these single mothers that are getting single mother benefits, it's crawling with men down there. Like it is, I can't.
Oh, this is true. The state is the fathers for, and also not only is the state the father, who is the mother? Think of who is the mother. The mother is the education system.
Right. Because the mothers that they've successfully taken the mother out of the home.
Yeah, and who's raising your freaking kid? I'm sorry. I do think that it was very much a nod to women. I don't think they were placating women so much when they came up with this expression, but the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Absolutely. You want to talk about privileged. If you want to call me privileged for being a mother, I'm not going to argue with you at all.
This is where there is no more important job in the world than raising other human beings. I'm sorry I have to say it slow. I'm sorry I have to explain it to people. You know what I mean? But when I had a good job, I worked for the city. I worked at a
Did
museum.
you just say I left a good job in the city? What
Yeah, I
is that?
did. Oh my God, she just died for the second
I
time for me.
know.
My Glitchy came and she's like, Tina Turner died. I was like, wait, I thought she already died. That was an
I
effective.
literally said the same thing to Mike. Mike said that he was like, Mary, Tina Turner died. I said, I thought she was dead for years.
Yeah, me too.
But
I was
my
on the same
God.
page. But anyway, I had a really good job. I worked for a museum when my son was little, and I don't know where I was going with this, but there wasn't to raise children. We need to. That's the big problem too, and this goes back to the Target thing and the transpocalypse and the cancellation of women, because there is. You know what? Women do belong on a pedestal. I'm sorry, we do. We are weaker, but we bring life into this world. We are loving, we are nurturing. A man can build a house, but a woman makes it a home. Okay, I'm not going to I remember I pissed off two liberal exercise instructors I used to be friends with. We were all out to lunch, and at the end it was just like when all this stuff was really kicking off, and I just said, I was like, I'm sick of all the gender bending crap. This was early on. I was getting really sick of it, and I was like, no one is taking being a woman from me. And now I feel like you know what I mean. But I have my husband, and at the end of the day, I told you, the only two people that really care if I'm happy in this world are my husband and my mother. Even my kids, like, only if it's like gets in their way, the way of their good time care.
Exactly. If you're in a great mood, they're loving it. You know, but once you're like banging around pots and pans, they're like, get a grip. But hold on, I do have to correct something I just said. I said, if people want to call me privileged, maybe I wouldn't be as insulted if they used it in terms of me being a mother. But now that we read the definition of privileged, I'm going to correct my statement and say it is a privilege that I have 8 children. It's a privilege. So I put that in the category of blessing, not entitled.
Yeah, my healthy children are my biggest blessings. They're ungrateful and they annoy the hell out of me, but I love them so much. And
I know. And also, no, women don't belong on a pedestal. Women belong respected.
That's all I meant.
Yeah, we just want the freaking respect that we deserve. And you said that, like, you know, we are the weaker sex. It's like, yeah, sometimes guess what? We're gonna act cray cray. Hold on, I have to see this. My daughter.
Aww.
I had a girl at my work today who started saying how she was gonna be an eyelash tech, but decided to pick another career path because now there are robots that can do that job.
I'm not letting any robots near my eye.
I know, right? They can do brain surgery. I have another friend whose nephew underwent brain surgery, and it was literally a doctor at a computer. I think it was a computer screen, like having this robot do certain like movements to do this like very fine surgery. Crazy.
Yeah, I was telling my that's my son and my daughter and I were talking about. I love taking care of dogs. That can't be replaced by AI because you can't lie to dogs. I was telling my son, I'm like, be a makeup artist. You're an artist. He's like, Mom, why are you trying to make people think I'm gay? I'm like, have you ever heard of your Uncle Jackie? People made fun of him when he opened 7 hair salons and made bank.
No,
and
when no. People made fun of him when he said, I want to be a hairdresser. Right. And then when he made his first million, they shut the hell up. But hold on,
and he was never gay.
Switzerland. I feel like RT's heart is over in Switzerland right now. He just brought Tina Turner. She was over in Switzerland. So
very good.
Maybe we can go visit her grave when we all hop on a plane and head over.
Switzerland looks beautiful. Sometimes I just I like to watch travel channels and videos. The other day I was watching one, RT maybe went on it. It was I forget what it was called, but it was like this train that was just like going through Switzerland in the winter. And I was like, Oh,
Those trains are terrifying. I'm afraid to fly and I'm afraid of
you're
cliff.
right. You're not coming.
I'm totally not welcome, guys. I'm
Well,
gonna ruin
the
our
good
trip.
news is you can go anywhere from the comfort of your living room on YouTube. Anywhere.
Oh yes,
Which is
absolutely.
nice.
All right. Well, I think we covered it all.
We've yet to get to the bottom of it all, but we will keep working on it. No, it was a good conversation, and I'm glad. I know I'm not going to say I'm glad you were insulted, because I don't think that he meant to insult you, but he did. He got me thinking about how blessed and thankful I am, and he got me thinking about some things. And I lucked out with my bills opening them, guys. So you guys are good luck. Thank you.
That was crazy. That was
That was
crazy. But
crazy.
so yeah. Anyway, I don't even have any amazing conclusions. Do I ever? Like you, Faye. I'm still, but I do think it is important to like know the freaking words that are coming out of your mouth and what they mean. You can't just throw crap like this around. And even though of course he's a friend of mine, he didn't mean it the way I took it, but me reading it the way I read it, it's like freaking entitled. Really? But he didn't mean it like that. Of course he didn't.
Well, the truth is, you know what? One thing that I try to do, and I make snap judgments, even though I don't always say it out loud. I'm really trying to work on that because no one knows. Why did Joe, you're the super hunk. You're
No,
always
our
the super hunk.
husbands, for some reason, they want the super hunks. I will say, now I don't have one. I'm sure Faye might have one because I've done like the past several. I was looking at the super
I can
babes.
always come up with super hunks. What you want?
Yeah, I was looking at the super babes this week just because of a passing thought I had about who the hell is the first lady? All right. That's where it started. Jill Biden. Wait, our first lady's name is Jill. All right. For some reason, I don't care enough anymore to not know that, but yet at the same time, I don't want to be ignorant and just like
Well,
if
that's
Mark Dice ever came up to me on the like pier in Santa Monica and said, "Who's our first lady?" I'd be like,
But-
So
okay, but Joe Biden is so lame, and I know he's probably an actor, but his joke that he tells every time he gets on the podium, he's like, "Hey guys, I'm Jill Biden's husband." It's not funny.
it just sounds like I'm Joe Biden's husband. But anyway,
so he ripped it off someone else too.
I was looking at the first ladies, trying to
Okay.
figure out the super babes. I feel like that needs to be one. I want you to look into it too, Faye. All right, so super hunks, Faye.
Jackie Kennedy for sure. Some of them were clearly men. Some of them were clear. Some of them could be the super hunk category.
We'll save it. We'll save it. Have a look at them. I want to see what you notice.
So you,
all right,
I can do an easy super hunks. Me?
Go. Yeah.
Okay. Classic '80s heartthrobs. Let's go. Matt Dillon, Rob Lowe, and this isn't when they're in their prime. Matt Dillon, Rob Lowe, or
oh my gosh, Patrick Swayze.
Fine. Go ahead.
Because that's tough for me. That now, who would you pick? All right, take out Patrick Swayze. Who did you want to be the third guy?
Uno is
Matt Dillon,
of course.
Yeah, in my forget it anyway.
Jen the truth seeker. I just want to say Jen the truth seeker who showed everyone her curves and she was looking good. She's been doing some good trans investigation and she's so right on with the inversion and the evilness. She kind of showed that Rob Lowe could be, but I'm not going there. He was very cute.
Oh my god, I love that. Her playing with the app thing.
Yeah.
And yeah. But Matt Dillon's a dude. And
no. But Rob Lowe, she could possibly be a female to male. But I loved him as Soda Pop Curtis. The Outsiders. Let me tell you,
this is so we have Matt Dillon.
Most girls our age, our first sexual experience was watching The Outsiders.
So Matt Dillon, who was Dallas.
Ooh.
Then we have what Soda Pop, and then we have Daryl, the older brother. You and I just totally subconsciously named The Outsiders.
We did.
All right, because it's like, all right, 1980 super hunk. All right, I'm like 9 years old. I'm watching The Outsiders. Who are the super
I
hunks?
think I might go watch The Outsiders tomorrow. Like it's such a
Classic.
good movie. It is a classic. And Matt Dillon really is the star. It's not about Pony Boy. It's about Dallas Winston.
You know that it's actually about Pony Boy because there's a lot of deleted scenes from the movie, but if you read the book, you know the whole thing ends in a custody trial where the older brother Daryl is trying to maintain custody of his two brothers. But
I haven't read it in a while, but I guess it was because, like, I don't know, I just loved that movie, and I always felt like we were the greasers. I was always like privileged. I grew up with Socias. Okay, I'm watching dogs for Socias right now. Okay, I have a Socias dog, which I will love and take good care of and do a good job. I've always been a greaser.
yeah, and also, you know the scene where Dallas is in the hospital and a nurse comes into his room and he has his shirt off. She's like, "Where's your Johnny?" And, and they have a little back and forth, and she's like, "Oh, I cannot wait until you leave," or something.
Yeah,
that's the author of the book. What's her name?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Matt Dillon is, and who knows if the stuff is real. And your middle sister told me this. And I, of course, did a little deep dive because I always had a little crush on Matt Dillon. You know how he was discovered?
Oh, I don't believe that.
Okay, but I looked it up. But it's a fun story. Okay.
That's all it is a story.
Let me tell the fun story.
All right,
okay,
go ahead.
The urban legend of how Matt Dillon got discovered. He was like sitting against a wall playing hooky from school, and some guy drives up in like a really nice car. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And Matt Dillon was like, "Who are you, a effing truant officer?" And I love that.
It's a cute story.
It's so
totally for entertainment purposes only.
Oh, see, we're veering off. We were serious. We got into we talked economics.
I gotta find my brand. I hate that they call it's under brand. Our extra. All right, I found it.
All right. Always good to talk to you. God bless everyone. Thanks for making my bills lower.
I know.
I blame you. Thank you.
There we go. All right. Have a great night. Thanks everybody for joining us. Bye-bye.